So my book is finally done. We have comparative grammar of Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. Learn 3 Scandinavian languages at the same time. And if you've been watching my channel, you know that I believe in learning multiple languages at the same time. When you learn 3 languages that are similar, that are part of the same language family, the North Germanic language family in this case, it only makes sense to say them at the same time because you can compare and contrast them in real time at the same time, and you can learn all the differences right then and there. So that's what I decided to do with this book. I wanted to make this book because this is the book that I would have wanted at the beginning of starting out to learn these 3 languages, Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. And so I created this book, and now I have this knowledge in this book, and I can share with you so you can have it. But let's jump into the book. I'm going to shoot over to my computer, and I'm going to show you inside the book. We can check it out together. Okay, here it is. Comparative Grammar of Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. Learn 3 Scandinavian languages at the same time, by me, Robertson B. Coons. So let's take a look at the table of contents. The first part of the book is a lot of historical information about the Scandinavian languages, especially Old Norse, which was the language that preceded the modern variants. Then the second part of the book is the actual grammar comparison for the Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. I go over all the different attributes of the languages, and then the third section of the book is the Scandinavian language comparison, which is basically comparing Swedish, both forms of Norwegian, both Bokmål and Nynorsk, Danish, and then on top of that, Icelandic and Faroese. So that's probably my favorite section of the book because it's always fascinating just to look at languages that are similar, that are next to each other, and see how they're different, how they compare, how they're similar. But let's take a look at the book. So this is the section on historical stuff. I tried to put in sections that were cool. For example, interactions with the Celtic languages, also on the Romance languages, basically how Old Norse and the Romance languages interacted with each other and influenced each other, as well as Slavic languages, Baltic languages. Let's see what else. Basically goes through the history from Old Norse into the modern languages of Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. And yeah, there's some fun pictures that I included just to spruce up the book. And let's take a look now at the grammar part of the book. So if we come down here, the nouns. Basically, I tried to make some graphics like this to make it easy to understand. So this graphic is showing definite nouns and indefinite nouns. Definite noun is basically the word the plus the noun. So in this case, it's a book, the book. So definite noun, you add en to the end of the word for all Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. And then for the indefinite noun, which is basically a book, you add n to the beginning of it, and it's a separate word. So as you can see right off the bat, Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish are pretty similar. Especially in this case, you can see that the only real difference is that Danish spells the word book with a G, whereas Swedish and Norwegian spell it with a K. But besides that, they look pretty similar. Here again, I gave lots and lots of example sentences just to be able to compare them and to get into the rhythm of the languages. So in this case, I have a cat. The cat is black. And you can see they're all pretty similar. The word for I is a little bit different. The word for black is different. It looks like it's the same in Swedish and Norwegian, but it's a little bit different in Danish. However, the word for I in Norwegian and Danish is the same, jeg, where Swedish is jag with an A. But yeah, I basically went through all the grammar points. I like to make tables just so you can also see side by side different examples of the language. So there are a lot of example sentences. Let's see what else. Come down to here, which is we have the possessive adjectives. You can see again, pretty similar across the three languages, but this is why it's so great, is because you can compare and contrast the differences and similarities so that you can learn these three languages at the same time and get a feel for how they're similar and different. That way you don't have any problems later when you try to learn them. Again, here's a graphic showing the articles and adjectives in the definite form. The adjective gets an A ending in Swedish, E for Norwegian and Danish, and then Danish doesn't use N or et in formal language after the noun. However, in informal language, they also add N or et the same way that Swedish and Norwegian do. So yeah, this is the book. I basically cover all the aspects of grammar. I made it nice and clear so that it's easy to understand, and it's just easy to be able to look at how the languages are the same, how they're different. I made sure to put in lots of different example sentences so that you can really get a sense. And let's go to the last part of the book, which is my favorite part. You can see there's quite a lot of material for the grammar itself. But the last part of the book, down here, we have the Scandinavian language comparison. So you can see, I try to do basic simple words and then compare them across all the Scandinavian languages. And then I made an example sentence. I tried to use culturally interesting information, but you can kind of compare how each language is the same and how they're different. These sentences are more complex than the ones in the grammatical explanation, just because I wanted to get real language, real full sentences, and be able to compare and contrast them. What a great picture that is. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of similarities, but there are also some differences amongst the languages. Especially I find that Icelandic and Faroese are more similar to each other than to Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. I think just because they were separated from the continent for so long and they were on islands, so they were more isolated. But yeah, you can go through, take a look at all these example sentences, maybe learn something from the culturally interesting contents. One thing I forgot to mention was that I also went ahead and I made an audio file that compares Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish right after each other so you can listen to the differences in the speech. And I did it for this section of the book here on page 125, I believe this is. Yeah, 125. So if you listen, this book is interesting.
Den här boken är intressant.
Denne boken er så interessant.
Denne bog er interessant.
These apples are fresh.
De här äpplena är färska.
Disse eplene er friske.
Disse æbler er friske.
That car is fast.
Den där bilen är snabb.
Den bilen er rask.
Den bil er hurtig.
So you can see this audio file displays how the languages sound, and this is absolutely completely free. You can download it on my website, which I'll link in the description. Even if you don't buy the book, you can also download it for free. But if you buy the book, there's a link inside the book that you can also access to get the file for free. So definitely check that out if you want to hear what Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish sound like back to back. And that's basically the book. So if you have any interest in Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish, or if you're just a language enthusiast like me, you have to get this book. I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek inside the book. If you want this book, then you can buy it on Amazon. The link is in the description. If you're watching this video at the time that it's published, I'm doing a free giveaway for the ebook on Amazon. So if you go to the Amazon page, you can download the ebook for free for the next 5 days. I'm also discounting the paperback from $24.99 to $14.99. I only ask that if you get the free ebook or the discounted paperback, please leave me a review, because leaving me a review is going to help me in the Amazon algorithm and get my book shown to even more people to help them out. Now, if you watch this video a little bit later and the list price is now $24.99 for the paperback and $9.99 for the ebook, don't worry. I literally put hundreds of hours into this book. I had 3 assistants, as well as a translator and proofreader for the 5 Scandinavian languages themselves. So this book represents hundreds and hundreds of hours of time, and it's condensed into one book. That's a pretty good value for $25. And besides, this is the book that I would have wanted when I was starting out learning these languages, and that's why I made this book. So now this book is here, this knowledge is available, and it's ready to be given to you. So if you want to buy the book and check it out on Amazon, the link is in the description below.